Hello there, welcome to my YouTube channel Sense Nightingale. Firstly, if you haven't subscribed, please click on that subscribe button, click on the notification bell so you can be notified about my content. In this tutorial video, I'm going to be showing you how to cut and sew this entire style from the puff sleeves up until the exaggerated hip and everything about this dress. So firstly, let's cut the sleeves. The brown paper is on the floor on fold, and I went on to mark the width of the sleeves, which is 17.5 inches. Multiplied it by 2 will give you 35 inches. The length of the sleeves that I worked with is 18 inches. All these measurements already carry the sewing allowance, so let's proceed. I went on to pick up my long roller now to connect the lines and cover up the areas that I will be working with. Afterwards, I went on to mark 7 inches from the starting point. This rather symbolizes what will be taken away after the pleat sits on the shoulder and across the armhole. After pleating this is how much volume I'll be working with in terms of how I pleat this on the armhole and how puffy this will be. Then I went on to mark the armhole slope. For the sleeves, I took out 4 inches on that line, and then I measured this across and drew a straight line across the markings that I have made. Thereafter, I went on to mark the area that would carry the pleats. Calculating the number of pleats that I want to achieve. So I picked up my measuring tape again and marked 12 inches on that line, right? So I would mark 12 inches on that line, and then afterwards create the entire slope for the sleeve. So I will just be using freehand with my marker, and I'm going to be connecting that slope as you can see me doing with my hand, right? So let's mark again 12 on that part and let's proceed. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to draw a straight line from that point downwards, right? And then I'll just do I took out 1.5 inches on that side, use my curve ruler to just create a slope, and I'm going to be using freehand now to create my initial slope from that line. So the pattern for our sleeves is ready, and I'll just proceed to cut this out. But before then, remember that the tip of the sleeves has a slope, right? So for that part, the round measurement I'll be working with is 9 inches. The original measurement for the person is 6 inches on fold, but I added 2 inches to that to give me 8 inches. So I'm going to be taking out I'm going to be adding 9 inches to that to get this measurement. So you can see me, I've done that already. So now let's pick up our scissors now and just trim this out. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's cut the main part of the dress. But I started with the bottom. So for the bottom, the shoulder to half measurement, the half length measurement is 18, and that's why I placed the tape rule on that part to get the full measurement I'll be working with, which is 34 inches. And then I went on to mark a straight line on that part so that I can begin crafting out the hip measurement, the waist measurements, and what that full length measurement will be. Remember, I'm working with an exaggerated hip line, right, which is why I won't be using the original measurements for the hip. The original measurement for the hip is 42 inches, but I'm going to be exaggerating this a bit. It's not going to be sleeping on the person's body, so it has this structure that I want to create. So now let's mark the waist measurement. The waist measurement that I worked with is 32 inches, so I added my 2 inches sewing allowance to this, and I marked 10 inches. On the hip line, the original waist measurement, or rather hip measurement, is 42 inches, but I will not be working with 42 inches. I'm going to be adding 4 inches to that 42 inches, and that's what I just marked there. Remember, I'm working with an exaggerated hip line, so I added my 2 inches sewing allowance on that line, also marked it on that line, and then connected the lines together. So from that marking that has the hip measurements, I'm going to go downwards by 1.5 inches, and from there I'm now going to draw up my slope so it sits that way, and then we're ready. So this is ready. I'm going to be using this to cut the back. I label this, I know what this is, and then I'll just proceed to cut this out and cut the upper part. So let's proceed to cutting the upper part of the design. So the paper is also on the floor. This is a simple round neck upper region. So I went on first of all to mark the shoulder to half measurement, I mean the half length measurement, which is 18 inches, and that's what I'm marking across this. After marking this, we're going to be marking marking other elements for this. So I labeled that half length, so I'm going to be marking the shoulder measurement. The shoulder measurement I worked with is 14 inches. Remember, this is on fold, so that's 7 inches. So what I'm trying to do now is to create the armhole measurements. The depth for the neck that I worked with is 3.5 inches and also 3 inches on that line. So I'm going to pick my curve ruler now and just connect the lines together, or rather the markings together. Up next, I'm going to be getting going to be creating the complete armhole pattern, as well as marking the bust measurement and the waist measurement. So the best measurement I worked with is 38 inches, added the sewing allowance to that, and then marked it. And then the waist measurement is 32 inches. Also added the sewing allowance to that, and then I marked that. So let's just create the slope for the bust area now, or rather for the armhole. So what I'm marking here is the shoulder to nipple measurement, because I want to create a dart around the sides, because I do not want to create a dart that is visible in the front region. So I'm just going to be creating a side dart, and what I'm trying to do right now is to create the shoulder, rather the nipple to nipple measurement on that line, which is 3.5 inches. Then I went on that line that you see me marking something on. I took out half an inch from there, and I went in by 5 inches. And then I picked up my ruler to connect the lines together. So that's ready. I'm going to be adding 1 inch on that side, so that it accommodates the 1 inch that I'm taking from the side for the darts. So I'm going to pick up my ruler now and just connect the lines. So I've returned that to that point. I'm now going to create the armhole as well, armhole slope, and then the shoulder slope. I was very distracted when doing this. I didn't remember that I'd not done that. So quickly I picked up my measuring tape and marked the area that will be creating the slope, and just quickly did that. I continued cutting, and then I stopped again to create the shoulder slope. So that's taking out 1 inch from that point, and then using the ruler to connect from the neck point to that side, and then just cut it off. And then our front pattern is ready. I'm going to be cutting the back pattern now. Alright, so the paper for the front part is ready. This is also on fold. So the first thing I did was to measure the half length measurement, which is 18 inches, and then I went on to take out the zip allowance that I'll be working with. The zip allowance I'll be working with is 2 inches. I went on to mark, what I just marked now is the neck measurements and then the shoulder measurement. So I've taken out 2 inches before I marked the shoulder measurement. So I picked my ruler now and connected the lines to connect to the other line beneath for the armhole measurement. After that, I went on to take out the zip measurements, or the zip allowance on that side, which I mentioned is 2 inches, and I went on to draw out my neck measurements. The depth for the neck at the back is 1 inches, or rather 1 inch. The wideness is 3 inches, like I mentioned for the front, and we're ready. Also be drafting out the shoulder slope for that part, and taking out the bust and waist measurements on the paper, and then we're good to go. So let's just connect this and then trim out. So I'll just label this back. So all our patterns are ready. I'll just cut out now, put together so you can see. We'll go to the sewing machine now and begin joining. So for this material, I'm going to be sewing the main material, which is Mikado silk, onto the hard net fabric and then the lining. The lining I used for this is the China lining, and we're going to proceed. So this is the front panel. I'm going to be sewing the hard net to the Mikado silk. Firstly, I'm going to be closing up the dart area that you had seen me take out at the beginning of this tutorial. So the next thing I did was to close up the dart area for the front part. I did this for the material and the part that has the hard knit as well as on the lining, before proceeding to join the neck region and then the sides. So for the back, we're going to be joining the neck area, the zip area, and then the sides as well. So as you see in this video, the net goes first, then the material, and then the lining goes on top of it. So what I'm doing now is to join the lining to the fabric. For the front part, I've done the one for the back. I'm just trying to do the one for the front now. Then I would iron out all the edges and then join together. So I quickly trimmed out the neck area for the excess, so this flattens out properly when I iron. Let's join the one for the back, so you can see the one for the back as well. The net goes first, then the Mikado silk, and then the lining goes on top of this. So after sewing the sides, we're also going to close up the tip of this as well. I mean, across all the parts. That's the kind of finishing that we're doing before, so that when we're placing the large sequin, it sits properly. So we're done with this, and I will just open this up and then iron this out. So this is the parts for the sleeves. I double the net for each of the sleeves so that it's very, very solid, unlike the One for the main body that I used single hard knits. For the sleeves I used double hard knits. So for the sleeves as well, we'll close the tip of the sleeves and turn it inside out, iron out, and then close it from the upper part. But first of all, let's just close the tip. Like I mentioned, the Mikado silk, rather the net goes first, the Mikado silk, and then the lining. So we're on the ironing board now. I'm trying to open this up so that this flattens properly. I'm going to be doing this for the left and for the right side of the sleeves, and then afterwards I'm going to be sewing the upper part downwards before I begin pleating on the sleeves. So back on the sewing machine, I'm just going to sew this tip down. I'm going to be doing this for the left and for the right. Then I will go to the weaving machine to weave this before I now pleat this. This is ready now. I'll just pick up my big scissors and trim the excess before I go to the weaving machine to weave this together. Also, I've been nudging the center point so that when I weave this it shows. But first, let's join the bottom part together. So I've marked the area that I'll be sewing on already for the bottom part, and I'll just sew that. It's just this. It's as easy as this. Afterwards, I'm going to also join the upper part as well. So this is the upper part. We're going to join shoulder to shoulder before we now join side to side. So the upper part is ready. Let's work on the sleeves. This sleeves area, I'm going to be working with Chantilly lace. So what I did was to close the tip first, and then I will close the sides before I will join with the part that has the puffy sleeves. So there are two sleeves right now, the one that sits inside and then one that is puffy. So what I'm trying to do is to mark the area that we're working with, the round sleeve measurement, as well as the three-quarter measurement and the wrist measurement. So we're on the sewing machine, rather on the ironing board now, and I'm going to be pleating this. So I've pleated the first one. I'm going to show you how to pleat the second one. You can see me doing the first of all. I'm doing a kissing pleating on the center part of the sleeves. I'm showing you this to look at what it looks like, right? How I pleated this, and I'm showing you that I'm going to replicate same. You can see I've already weaved everything, right? On the ironing table, I already marked 19 inches, which is the measurement that I'll be working with for the round sleeve. So first of all, I did my kissing pleating on the center. Then I started pleating towards the left side, right? Using 1 inch pleating method, 1 inch, 1.5 inches, depending on the size I want per pleat, right? And that's what I'm doing at this point. I'm also pleating so that this also accommodates the number of pleats that I want, as well as the total measurement for the armhole, which is 19 inches. You can see that I showed you I've marked 19 inches on that part, and I also marked the center point together, so that's 9.5 and is equal. So let's pleat the other part. So towards that other side that has the kissing pleat, I'm also going to now pleat away, right? You can see me pleating away on that part. So I'm pleating, I'm going to continue to pleat towards the left hand side, which is the pattern. You can decide to pleat in any way you want. You can pleat all the way to the right or pleat to the left, or do kissing pleating for each pleat that you create. So let's check to be sure that this aligns, and yes, it aligns. So we're good. Our sleeves is ready. This is 19 inches ready, considering the sewing allowance as well. Like I mentioned, I'm going to be working with 9 inches for that part, right? Because I added extra 2 inches allowance, or rather 2 inches to the round sleeve measurement, because it's not meant to be fitted to the sleeves, or rather to the hands and rather arms, and we're good to go. So let's go to the ironing, rather the sewing machine now, and sew the pleats down. Also, you have to be careful so that your needle doesn't get in contact with the pin. So as you're approaching, just make sure that you are taking out the pins as you move. So now let's join this together. Let's sew this down. You can see, just to check that this is 9 inches wide, and then we sew down. Our sleeves are ready, so I'm going to be joining, rather sewing the chantilly, the sleeves that has the chantilly net together with the puff sleeves. before I will now join this on the shoulder of the dress. Also for the dress, I'm going to be weaving the armhole so that I don't have to pass this thickness into the weaving machine again. So let's join the puff sleeves with the chantilly sleeves. So that's ready now. I'm going to be joining the sleeves now to the upper body of the design. That's ready now. I'm going to sew the lower body of the upper body of the dress before I take to the weaving machine to weave. So I'm just closing this down so that it's easy for me to join this upper body with the lower body of the pattern. I'm going to do the same thing as well for the skirt area. I'm going to sew the tip, upwards. I'm going to sew it down before I take it to the weaving machine to weave. Also, I have already used my iron to iron out the structure so that this finishing is as neat as possible. So I'm back from weaving this, and I'm going to just quickly join this together before I fix the zip. So let's fix the zip now. I'm using a fuchsia pink zip so that it matches the chantilly lace that I used for the sleeves. So our dress is ready. It's time for us to bedazzle this now with the sequin. So this is the sequin. At Yaba Market, a pack of this is sold, based on my findings, is sold for 12,000 naira, and a pack contains about 120 of this disc. So I'm going to be using this now. I first of all used my bobbin pins to secure this on the fabric before I began attaching this on the fabric itself. This joining that you can see here is because when the person came to try on the dress, we had to add about 4 inches to the original length because she wanted it longer. But then I took this video that you can see now before she came for our fitting. So this is what this looks like eventually. I hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed creating it. If you have any questions for me, you can leave them down below in the comment section, and I'll be willing to take them from you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time for you to click on that subscribe button. Click on the notification bell so you get notified about my other content. I'll be dropping other links for you to learn how to create this lovely corset dress with a basque waistline. I'm also going to be leaving a link for you to watch how I made this chef uniform. From me to you, it's bye bye. Keep creating magic.